Hello, Board of Directors. My name is Stephen Su, and I am an HR manager from here at H&M. Thank you for joining me today as I discuss an initiative I created named Equal Opportunities for All and Addressing Gender Discrimination in Overseas Factories. Environmental, social, and governance, or ESG, continues to be a growing concern in the fast fashion industry. This sector has been under scrutiny for many different ESG issues. However, there continues to be especially large concerns towards the working conditions and equality in H&M's factories. Despite 59% of the workers in H&M's factories consisting of women, garment factories have found only 9% of supervisory and managerial roles to be held by women, with 84% of women taking on lower paying roles. Furthermore, gendered harassment continues to remain an issue in all of these factories, with women and marginalized groups facing a larger risk of harassment. All in all, 22% of factory workers reported sexual harassment within the last 6 months. In terms of what competitors are doing, Adidas has increased tracking of what occurs in their factories, but that's not enough. The initiative we have come up with, Equal Opportunities for All and Addressing Gender Discrimination in Overseas Factories, is an initiative to stomp out gendered harassment and violence in our factories and provide women with more opportunities in supervisory and managerial roles. We believe that HR is the optimal role to lead this, as this initiative involves employee training and covered topics usually addressed by HR, such as appropriate conduct. This initiative will involve hosting workshops in factories to provide workers with knowledge and training regarding what gender discrimination in the workplace is and what appropriate conduct in the workplace should look like. It also touches upon how to report something if gender discrimination is spotted, as well as including additional workshops that allow for employees to receive training on how to develop their supervisory and managerial skills. This way, it prepares them for jobs that require them to have these skills which they may not currently possess. Many stakeholders would be affected by this initiative. The stakeholder that would be affected the most by these changes would be the workers in our garment factories. This is something that we hope will eventually reach every factory worker we have. With 1.1 million people currently working within our Tier 1 and Tier 2 factories, implementation of this program would create a safer work experience. As workers receive a better grasp of appropriate conduct in the workplace and what to look out for, this also results in improved psychological health for workers, as there are less worries about inappropriate interactions occurring within the workplace. Furthermore, with this program, they're also presented with more opportunities for career growth, as they are provided with the ability to expand their skill sets. Another stakeholder that benefits significantly from this initiative are the factory owners. With better working conditions and more opportunities for workers, this will result in lower turnover, which results in less time being spent to hire and train replacement workers. Furthermore, this will increase worker productivity in the workplace as the psychological health of the employees continue to improve. A third effect that greatly affects factory owners is the diversified skill sets of employees. This allows them to have an easier time filling jobs involving skilled labor that they may otherwise struggle to fill other. There are many benefits that could come with the implementation of this initiative. The greatest benefits are the business ones, where, like as previously said, employees are becoming more productive due to the insurance they have of a safe workplace, alongside them being more versatile from receiving training for new skills, allowing for greater assistance to be available if needed. The reputation of the company is also positively impacted, as it will be one of the first firms to take a stance on addressing the issue of violence against women and the gap in supervisory and managerial roles between men and women. This is especially useful as consumers continue to become more conscious regarding where their purchases come from and how they are made. Furthermore, competitor firms like Adidas have only started making pledges where they are more mindful of how the products are made. However, they have yet to do things such as provide training for employees in these factories to ensure this does not happen, putting H&M ahead of the competition in this regard. Beyond competition, it also provides the business with a head start on legal compliance, as labor laws in these countries are slowly evolving to become more like those in more developed countries. In terms of ESG benefits, there would be a greater amount of representation in decision-making roles. This also allows for perspectives that might have previously gone unacknowledged to be brought into light, leading to further development of ideas and processes. Workplace safety would also be increased, as it allows for workers to receive a better grasp of appropriate conduct in the workplace and how to report inappropriate conduct. For HR benefits, as previously mentioned, there's the benefit of turnover rates being reduced. There's also increased engagement, as some workers may have an easier time communicating with a female supervisor than a male supervisor to address their worries and concerns. And as a result, this can also lead to improved relationships with employees, as they are more willing to communicate with management and voice what issues they may have on their mind. We have discovered the different types of risks associated with not implementing this initiative, alongside the risks of implementing this initiative and how to mitigate these risks. If this initiative is not implemented, it leaves H&M vulnerable to future legal issues with local governments. As these laws continue to evolve and become closer to what's seen in more developed countries, H&M could be at risk of facing legal action. Employee turnover is also another risk. With a vast amount of garment factories located in these areas, workers can be enticed to quit and work elsewhere instead. Both of these can lead to disruptions in the supply chain, as government intervention or lack of labor available could halt production. More importantly, without the implementation of this, the well-being of employees continues to be jeopardized, with them working in hostile environments that would not be acceptable for it to take place in Sweden. This can give H&M a negative reputation amongst customers and turn them away if the issue is not addressed. The risks when it comes to implementing this plan are resistance from factory owners and disapproval from existing supervisors and managers. When it comes to the factory owners, they may be worried about taking time out of production to have their workers attend these workshops. However, we can address this by acknowledging their concerns and walking through the positives of having a safer workplace, and that the long-term benefits outweigh the time consumed from these workshops to show them they gain as much as we do. And in order to prevent those going through skills training workshops being disapproved and undermined by existing supervisors and managers, we will have them involved in developing the workshops and necessary procedures. And with these concerns addressed, we believe that it reduces the chances of this initiative's implementation going wrong. With approval for this plan, we plan to begin as soon as possible. In order to implement this plan, there are 3 phases that will take place. The planning phase will take 4 to 6 months to complete, and we'll have the Chief HR Officer, Sustainability Coordinators, and the Firm Sourcing and Capacity Development Specialists to meet with factory owners and workers alongside women's rights activist groups to discuss how safe they feel in the workplace and the disparity in supervisory and managerial roles between men and women. The pilot phase is expected to take 6 to 9 months, with the workshops going through a trial run in our 20 largest platinum factories. This set of factories was chosen due to them being rated the best in terms of performance, productivity, and safety, making them likely to remain partners with H&M in the future. Workers successfully displaying the required skills needed will also be placed in roles aligned with their competencies. The rollout and review phase is expected to take 3 years, with the plan continuing to operate indefinitely. This will provide more factories with workshops, starting with platinum and gold factories before moving on to the rest, and annual follow-ups will be conducted to remind employees of appropriate conduct and assist in further developing their skills, with modifications being made to workshops depending on feedback received. This initiative can be linked to ESG frameworks such as the ISO 26000, with emphasis being placed on aspects such as respect for human rights and respect for international norms of behavior, as we work towards creating a safer environment for all genders and progressing the workplace towards something that would be legally compliant, even in H&M's home country of Sweden. In order to measure this, we have come up with 3 ways to report on progress made. The first outcome we wish to achieve is equality in supervisory and managerial roles. This is something we have decided to track by analyzing the amount of supervisory and managerial roles held by women compared to men. Measuring this will determine whether the disparity has been addressed in any manner. The second outcome we seek to achieve is increased workplace safety. This can be done by distributing surveys regarding safety and workplace sexual harassment. Beginning from the initial workshop held, we will monitor responses to determine if any progress has made. And the third outcome we desire is increased retention rate. This can be tracked down by looking at the turnover rates in these factories. These metrics will start being tracked on a factory-by-factory basis upon the first time a factory receives a workshop, with follow-ups being given quarterly. These quarterly reports will then be given to the board for transparency following implementation. Today, I am asking the board for approval to begin working towards this initiative. Once approved, my team is looking to contact the required parties in the planning phase to request for their availability. Following this, we will create schedules to effectively meet up with stakeholders to discuss their concerns and develop workshops. Then we will book flights and accommodations to places close to our factories so we can hold these conferences and plan out our workshops. H&M is a company with high standards for their clothing. We can have high standards for the treatment of people who make the clothing too. If there are any questions regarding this proposal that you may have at this very moment, now is the time to ask them. If you have any concerns later, please email me at ssu31@myseneca.ca for future contact. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to me today, and please remember that equality in factories creates better lives for everybody. This is my AI usage declaration. Assignment 4 in specific did not see the use of any AI tools.